Hello, good morning, everybody. Hi, am I audible? Okay. So sorry for cancelling yesterday's class. My voice is in recovery process. Okay. How is it today? I think it's better. Yeah. Actually, these days, I have 3 classes per day. Unfortunately, morning time, I had to struggle for speaking. So I had to cancel the class yesterday. Why is Krishna not able to join? Okay. So moving ahead with our discussion on gender psychology. So we were looking at the theories that explain how do we acquire a gender identity. And we saw in the last lecture how observational learning through direct tuition and observation leads to formation of gender identity. Now today we will see the biological theory of gender identity. The biological theory of gender identity. The biological theory of gender identity advocates that the hormonal differences in the body at a very early stage in life causes differences in sex typical behaviors. The hormonal differences in early stages of life causes differences in sex typical behaviors. The male sex hormone, testosterone, is present in excess in boys, and the female sex hormone estrogen is present in excess in girls. The male sex hormone testosterone is present in excess amongst boys, while female sex hormone estrogen is present in excess in girls. This is responsible for differences in sex typical behaviors. And this is what is responsible for differences in the sex typical behaviors. Now, an experiment was conducted as an evidence for this theory. Young et al. Injected testosterone injections in female monkeys. Young et al. Injected testosterone injections in female monkeys, following which the female monkeys started behaving aggressively, even with their babies. Following which the female monkeys started behaving aggressively, even with their babies. Now, limitation of this theory. Limitation of biological theory. Number one, wilder men found that the difference in genetic material in males and females cannot be too high. The difference in genetic material between males and females cannot be too high because much of the chromosomes are commonly shared. Much of the chromosomes are commonly shared. So only there is difference in one chromosome, the 26th chromosome, that makes a boy and a girl a girl. So much of the chromosomes are commonly shared, therefore difference in genetic material cannot be too high to account for the gender typical behavior. To account for gender typical behavior. So biological difference in the genetic material is too less to account for the great difference in the sex typical or gender typical behavior. So these gender typical behaviors are by and large product of social difference rather than biological difference, right? So the gender typical behaviors must be result of the social difference and not essentially the biological difference. Wilderman proposed that. Likewise, money et al. Money et al. Found that two male identical twins to change the page just a moment. Money et al. Found that two male identical twins. Identical twins are monozygotic twins who are born out of the same zygote. So they share greatest common type of genes, right? So two male identical twins, one of whom got his genitals removed due to medical reasons. So two male identical twins, one of whom got his genitals removed, castrated due to medical reasons, was treated by his parents like a girl, was treated by his parents like a girl, eventually behaved like a girl. Eventually behaved like a girl and later on like a woman. Later on like a woman. And now, nevertheless, you should not forget that the theory of gender identity cannot be completed without mentioning Carl Jung, who has given the concept of archetypes, right? So animus and anima, if you remember. So there is a female inside every man, and there is a man inside every female. And this image of masculinity and femininity that exist in the collective unconscious are known as archetypes, right? Now, the female and male image are present equally strong in the collective unconscious of every newborn child, every newborn baby, whether it is man or woman. So right since birth, a boy child knows how to be like a girl, and a girl child knows how to be like a boy. But as they grow up in the society, the female part in the boy is suppressed by the society, and the male part in the girl is suppressed by the society. So as we grow up into adults, we become unknown and unfamiliar or stranger to 50% of our personality. So we are functioning by only 50% of our personality. As a man, I have become stranger to the female inside me. And therefore, I fail to understand the feelings and understandings or expectations of my female counterpart. Likewise, my wife has grown up as a female, as a woman, and she has lost connect with the man inside. So many a times she fails to understand my expectations, my feelings. So this lack of understanding that exists between a man and a woman is simply because of that losing connection between the archetypes, animus and animal, right? And that is because of the society. So if a boy child is found crying, immediately he will be said, "Rota hai ladka hoke." तो रोना धोना बंद, expression खत्म. ठीक है? If a girl child is found playing with the boys, climbing up the tree, hey, लड़की होके पेड़ पे चढ़ती है. So now that लड़की becomes only लड़की, and the लड़का inside the लड़की is lost. Are you getting it? And then she doesn't understand the feelings of men. So losing touch with the opposite gender in your personality, it is because of the social treatment, and that leads to gender typical behavior. Now, Carl Jung advocated gender appropriate behavior. A gender appropriate behavior is one in which a man becomes familiar with the feminine side of his personality and a woman becomes familiar with the masculine side of her personality. And if this happens, then you start functioning 100% of your personality. You start using up 100% of your personality, right? So as a man, you become the most sensible person. As a woman, you become the most understanding person. And the relationship lasts longer than before. It becomes happier than before, right? So you may mention new analytical theory. I'm not writing it separately because we had lengthy discussion over new analytical theory of Carl Jung. So the next theory that I take on board is evolutionary theory. Now, there is a branch of psychology which is known as evolutionary psychology. Evolutionary psychologists study the evolutionary behavior of human beings and other organisms in natural settings. Evolutionary psychologists study the natural behaviors of human beings and other animals under natural settings in the nature. Now today, you see so many channels like National Geography and Discovery. And what they do, they plant very microscopic cameras in the natural settings. And these cameras keep operating 24/7 and they record the rarest moment of animals' behavior, right? Now, this is the advanced version of evolutionary psychology. In earlier days, when there were no microscopic cameras, the evolutionary psychologists used to camouflage themselves and stay in the forest for several days. And they used to observe the natural behaviors of different organisms. that when the organisms know, when the animals know that they are not being watched, they're not under surveillance, how would they behave naturally in the natural setting? This was the objective of study. Today, the microscopic high-speed cameras have enabled easy way. Human beings don't have to camouflage themselves in order to observe the animal behavior. But this was evolutionary psychology, right? Which has given birth to these kind of channels like National Geography and Discovery. Now, evolutionary psychologists found that there exists a difference in intelligence between man and woman because of evolutionary history. There exists a difference in intelligence between man and woman because of the difference in evolutionary history. Men have a superior place intelligence. Men have a superior place intelligence, while women have a superior object intelligence. Men have a superior place intelligence, while women have a superior object intelligence due to the evolutionary history. Now, what is place intelligence? It is the ability to locate places, to remember routes, to reach out destinations. So place intelligence has much to do with cognitive maps of places, right? तो कौन सा रास्ता किस तरफ जाता है? The sense of direction. What could be the alternative routes to reach the same direction, to reach the same destination? That basic concept, hypothesis, that if this route is blocked, probably that route will take me there. This kind of intelligence is called place intelligence. Okay? And what is object intelligence? Locating objects which are required from those which are not required. So identifying the desired object from the irrelevant ones. So if many things are lying on the table and I want the pepper or the salt, how fast can I recognize where is the pepper and the salt? So when many things are lying on the table and I have to find my watch or my specs, I'm very bad at it. My mother and my wife or my daughter are very good at it. They will immediately locate. दिखाई नहीं देता, यहाँ सामने पड़ा हुआ है. Men will not find it. So from my wardrobe, I'm not able to locate my socks. And my mother would do it in seconds. I don't know why मेरे सामने है, मुझे दिख नहीं रहा है. ठीक है? So object intelligence is very powerfully developed in women. And according to evolutionary psychologists, this is a gender difference in intelligence due to evolutionary history. So in the primitive society, men used to be hunters. And they would go after the animal in the forest for miles. And forest does not have any landmark to remember the destination back home. Partha is writing, but sir, mother never recognized this truth. Now see, forest looks similar from all the directions. So how to remember what is the way back home? So men have developed a superior place intelligence and they have learned how to come back home after hunting, after the game. and women were food gatherers in the primitive society. So out of the fruits that were fallen on the floor, they had to recognize which ones are eatable and which ones are poisonous. So that was their job throughout the day. So they have learned to locate objects in a better manner. Now, this is a very rudimentary theory. I don't ask you to buy this theory. Okay. Now, according to this theory, this is the reason that why most of the drivers driving public transport or handling public transport are men. Because in public transport, there is a risk involved. A lot of people are there as passengers, and their lives lie on the driver. And a good driver should know the routes. Should know that 500 meters ahead, I have to take a right turn. Only then in a lane driving, he can keep changing the lanes in advance. And if the driver does not know the route, he will open the Google map. As the Ola, Uber cab drivers, those idiots do. And suddenly they will turn the car to the right. And what will happen to the vehicle in the right side of the lane? Either it will apply power brake and meet with an accident, or it will hit the car ahead. ठीक है? तो रूट अगर आपको नहीं पता है तो गूगल आपको गाड़ी चलाना नहीं सिखा सकता है. Very simple. You need to know the route in advance. Now, government keeps posting signboards all the time that there is a U-turn 500 meters ahead, 600 meters ahead. They keep indicating, but drivers who are new learners, they hardly look at the signages, and their primary focus on the Google map. Google map क्या देख रहे हो, गाड़ी टूट जाएगी तुम्हारी. Now, this is because of lack of place intelligence. So men have a superior place intelligence according to this theory, and according to this theory, women have a better object intelligence. Now see, I would confront this theory on the ground that if females are not found much on the road in driving cars, it is because of social treatment. So if there is a family, you will find the access to the vehicle or the rights of driving will always be present with the husband. It is most expected that in a family, the husband will be the driver. And if the wife is found driving, it's surprising. It's surprising as if it is something unusual. Although these days things are changing, the wives do drive, but then it is less likely. It is less likely. In Indian society, it is less likely that a husband is sitting behind or sitting beside and the wife is driving. It is less likely. So when it is seen, it is a pleasant experience to see. So generally, men are given greater access to vehicles for driving, and probably because of that reason, they have developed a superior place intelligence. Women are given more exposure to home, to objects in the home, so they get more familiarized with the objects and possessions which the family has. Right? They get more familiarized with the objects and possessions which the family has. For example, I have a room heater and I use it regularly. I never noticed that a scratch has occurred in the left front side. A minor scratch, a microscopic scratch, means which cannot be noticed unless you see it minutely. Now, this was observed by my wife. I did not see it. And she kept nagging, how this scratch? You must have done it. You must have done it. I said, where is the scratch? You know, तो उन्होंने दिखाया, ये देखो, ये scratch है. अब ये उनको कैसे दिख जाता है भाई, मुझे क्यों नहीं दिखता? ठीक है, why can't I see it? अरे कहाँ तक कोई थोड़ा सा स्क्रैच लग गया होगा, किसी से भी लग सकता है. अब मैं क्यों स्क्रैच लगाता फिर अपने ही सामान. ठीक है, लेकिन सारा ब्लेम आफ्टर ऑल मेरे ऊपर आता है. तुमने ही लगाया. I don't know why. So this is evolutionary theory of gender difference, and these are the theories of gender identity. And now we will venture out in the topic of gender discrimination. A topic that will make most of the boys in the class very unhappy. Gender discrimination. Gender discrimination is a phenomena that involves acting in a manner. Gender discrimination is a phenomena that involves acting in a manner which places the other gender, that is female gender. Gender discrimination is a phenomena that places the female gender at a disadvantaged position. At a disadvantaged position. Now remember, technical definition is that places the other gender in disadvantaged position. But we will not use the word other, because all over the world, it is the female gender which is placed at disadvantaged position, not the male. All over the world. Even in the most enlightened societies with gender equality, still there is difference in the treatment between boys and girls. Okay? Still there is difference between treatment between the boys and girls, and we will see this towards the end of this chapter how. तो कितना भी लोग क्लेम कर ले जेंडर इक्वालिटी है, जेंडर इक्वालिटी है, जेंडर इक्वालिटी नहीं है. ठीक है? नहीं, it doesn't exist. It's a myth. And therefore, instead of using the word other, you should use the word female gender. Okay? Yeah, Pankaj, your question.
सर यहाँ पे LGBTQ प्लस कम्युनिटी को ऐड नहीं करेंगे?
नहीं करेंगे, नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि उसका टॉपिक अभी तक सिलेबस में ऐड नहीं हुआ है. अगर खो जाएगा तो उस पर भी करेंगे. यहाँ जेंडर का मतलब है मेल और फीमेल सब में डील कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, उसको नहीं कर सकते. See, understand, we have to respect the syllabus. वो LGBT एक्ट आया है बड़ा रिसेंटली, ये टॉपिक पहले से एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है. And I'm sure कि जब नेक्स्ट टाइम रिवाइज किया जाएगा साइकोलॉजी का सिलेबस, LGBT को भी ऐड किया जाएगा. अभी तक नहीं है. Till now it doesn't exist, so we will not delve into that. ठीक है? Yeah, Tafsir and Kamna, nice to see you both in yesterday's M4, M2 classes. How many of you are there? Only 2 of you? Okay, Shipra was my previous batch student who is also your classmate in M2, M4 batches. Okay. Yesterday I started a new batch in ethics and I found these 2 gems in the class, you know. So, bada familiar laga, support mila. So, it was a nice time. Who else is there? Okay, I am in M2 batch. Neha, you were there yesterday? Come on, M2, M4 batch. Sir,
the older M2 batch, we started on 26th November. I'm in that batch. We haven't done ethics yet. So, hopefully when we start, we'll meet you. Did they give you schedule for ethics? So not yet. It hasn't been put in the schedule yet. We're doing some other subject right now.
I think it will be taking place after the prelims.
Probably.
I believe so. I'll talk to Nikki. M2 will log class. Anyways. So, gender discrimination. Okay? And we will see how many types of gender discrimination exist in this world. So mostly our discussion will be in the world framework, And I will bring in the types of gender discrimination in Indian context as well. Meanwhile, right? So just give me a moment. Okay. So, the weather condition in Delhi right now is very breezy, very breezy. So winds are blowing around at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour. And these are cold winds. अगर इससे बढ़ जाएगा स्पीड तो उसको क्या बोलेंगे? गेल फोर्स विंड. उससे भी बढ़ जाए तो बोलेंगे स्टॉर्म. और उससे भी बढ़ जाए तो बोलेंगे टाइफून, which is called cyclone. पता नहीं ज्योग्राफी को निकल जाता है. Anyways, so let us see the gender discriminations one after the other. One type of gender discrimination is the psychological perception of female minority. Psychological perception of female minority. Now, if you examine the world sex ratio, it is approximately 1,000 males, 1,000 females per 1,007 males. So it is almost equal. So if you look at the world demography, the number of men and number of women are almost equal. So there are 1,000 women, females, per 107 per 1,007 males. So sex ratio of the world is almost balanced. ठीक है? तो हर एक 1,000 मैन के लिए 1,000 वुमेन है. 7 बेचारे जो हैं वो अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी, उनके लिए कोई वुमेन नहीं. ठीक है? But the perception in the society about females is that they lack in numbers. They are present in minority. Now, why this wrong perception exists? What is the cause of this wrong perception? The cause is relative invisibility in public life of women. So if you go to the railway ticket counter, you are most likely to find a man in the counter. If you take a bus, a DTC bus, most likely the driver and the conductor are going to be males. If you stop at the signal, the traffic police cop is most likely to be a man. So the visibility of man in public life is more frequent as compared to women. And as a consequence, a perception builds up that women are lesser in number, are minority in existence. And therefore, dominance of men finds a justification in the name of majority. So because men are majority in numbers, there should always be rule of the majority. The majority should always rule under a democratic setup. And hence, if females are not given many of the rights which men enjoy, it is perfectly justified because they are minorities. Now, the false perception that females are minorities leads to gender discrimination. This is one of the cause. Okay? In reality, this is not true. And there are some religions which forbids females to be present in public life. There are some customs that prevent women to come out in public. For example, in many villages in India, the women are not allowed to come to face the men. So they might be present in home, but they will not appear in front of the guest. They will always be behind the curtains. पर्दा नशी, ठीक है? तो पता ही नहीं चलता है कि ये घर में फीमेल है भी या नहीं है, ठीक है? तो दिखाई नहीं देती है तो है ही नहीं, इस तरह का perception. This kind of perception is called perception of psychological minority. Second problem with gender discrimination is drawing parallelism with other ethnic minorities. Drawing parallelism with other ethnic minorities. Now, other ethnic minorities. Other ethnic minorities or social minorities are subject to stereotypes. The ethnic minorities or social minorities are subjected to stereotypes like they are weak and incompetent. For example, people belonging to backward classes or SC/ST lack talent and merit. This is the perception held by majority. Now, similar perceptions are held for women as well. So they are seen at par with other ethnic minorities. So as other ethnic minorities are weak and incompetent, women being parallel with them, women being similar to them are weak and incompetent is another social misperception. Now see the third one. Together but unequal. Together but unequal. Now this is the hypocrisy of the society. Women are accepted as life partners in togetherness, but they are not accepted as business partner, as equals. So in one hand, females are accepted in togetherness as life partners, but they are not accepted as equals, as business partners. Now you compare this situation with the other ethnic minorities. The other ethnic minorities like SC/ST or OBC are neither accepted as equal nor accepted as together. They are held at arm's length. But women are accepted as in togetherness, but they are denied inequality. So this is a kind of raising expectation and then denying it. It's a kind of raising somebody's expectation that you are with me, but not like me. So a hypocrisy or hypocritical treatment. The fourth problem of gender discrimination is change the page. Demeaned trait perception. Demeaned trait perception. The male dominated society, perceive that female possess. The male dominated society assumes or perceives that females possess certain traits that are not suitable for organizational success. The male dominated society assumes that female possess certain traits which are incongenial, which are not suitable for organizational success. For example, the assumed traits in females are as follows. I'm using the word assumed. They are not real. Assumed traits. Gentleness. Tenderness. Kindness. Emotional expressiveness. Okay? Now, these are certain traits which are not healthy for organizational success. So, for organizational success, there are certain traits that are assumed to be possessed by males. So, these are assumed traits of females. Now, if you look at the assumed traits of males, they would be assertiveness, competitiveness, emotionally reserved, etc. Now, upon comparing these set of traits, it is found that males are more superior employees or more suitable employees in any organization as compared to females. So as an employee, you must be assertive, you must be competent, you must be competitive, and you must not express your emotions. You must have great control over your emotions. Whereas women are assumed to be gentle, tender, kind, emotionally fragile. Now, these traits are not healthy for any kind of organization. So the psychological break point comes very fast in female employees. This is the assumption. Now, do you agree with this assumption? I'm asking both males and females, boys and girls in this class.
Sir, for exam, yes.
Huh?
For exam, yes.
Or
Exam, yes. For this exam, yes, but not actually.
for this exam, yes? No. Females are not at all kind. Who told you that they are kind?
No, sir, for this exam, I can write this, but like that, but
No,
actually not.
this is false perception. Can you say Indira Gandhi was kind?
No, sir, not actually. Not at all. They are not kind.
Not kind, not gentle, not tender.
And
They
that sometimes
can
they
be
are,
so, they can be so harsh. They can be
yes,
so
sir,
aggressive.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, so it's totally dependent upon the individual. It's not upon the gender. Okay. I have seen women who are quite assertive, quite competent, and quite competitive and emotionless, totally devoid of any emotions. And I have seen men who are very gentle, who are very kind, who are very tender, who are very soft. Now, this kind of stereotypical perceptions are prevalent in the society. मैंने तो आज तक इंदिरा गांधी जैसा हार्श लेडी देखा ही नहीं किसी को. ठीक है, मैंने उनको बचपन से देखा है. And she came to Ranchi, and my father was posted in Ranchi. So from my school, a group of children were given the task of greeting her on her arrival in the airport. And I was lined up in the first row because मैं सबसे छोटा था हाइट में, तो मुझे गुलदस्ता लेके खड़ा कर दिया था सामने. तो मैडम आई फ्लाइट से उतरी. I remember she was wearing a lemon colored sari and she was damn beautiful. You just can't imagine, like a goddess. And when I gave her the flower, she just pressed my cheeks, and I still remember the touch. And then she sat on an open jeep, and Chief Minister of Bihar was standing behind. That time, Jharkhand was not separated from Bihar. And all public was standing by the side of the roads, waving, national flag. And this Chief Minister was doing like this, and suddenly she turned back and, hey, Chief Minister डर के मारे बैठ गए. ऐसा मतलब टफ पर्सनालिटी मैंने शायद ही किसी का देखा होगा, किसी लेडी का. तो ये परसेप्शन गलत है, that women are always tender, gentle. ऐसा नहीं है. Now, in this regard, there has been an experiment conducted by Tohe et al. Tohe et al. Two groups of men and women were taken as subjects. Two groups of men and women were taken as subjects. That means each group consisted of men plus women. Each of the groups consisted of men plus women, right? Two groups of men and women were taken as subjects. And they were given description of certain traditionally male-dominated occupations. And they were given description of certain traditionally male-dominated professions or male-dominated occupations like scientists, lawyers, physicians, etc. They were given description about certain occupations which were traditionally male dominated, like scientist, lawyer, physicians, etc. One of the group was led to believe one of the group was led to believe that percentage of women in these professions is increasing rapidly. Percentage of women in these professions is increasing rapidly. And soon women would outnumber the men in these professions, the profession of scientist, lawyer, physician, etc. Soon women are going to outnumber the men. The other group was told, that men are still dominating in numbers. The other group was told that these professions are still male dominated. Subsequently, both the groups were asked to rate the prestige value of these professions. Subsequently, both the groups were asked to rate the prestige value of these professions. The former group which believed that females have outnumbered the males, the former group which believed that females have outnumbered the males rated the professions as less prestigious, rated these professions as less prestigious as compared to the other group. As compared to the other group, which believed that males are still dominating the professions. So because female possess traits which are unsuitable for organizational success, if females are excelling in a profession, the profession itself is less valuable. Right? So that shows the presence of stereotype. Then comes exaggeration of differences. Now, many perceived differences between men and women are exaggerated in nature. They do not have any scientific basis in terms of research value. So many differences are perceived differences in the society. They don't have a backup from scientific research. So what are the exaggerated differences seen between men and women? Let us see them one by one. First, girls are more sociable than boys. Number two, girls are more suggestible. Girls have low or lower self-esteem. Girls lack achievement motivation. Achievement motivation is always written as NACH, like this. We will learn about achievement motivation in motivation chapter, right? Girls are more affected by genes, while boys by environment. Now, these are the exaggerations of differences that is prevalent in the society, which do not have any scientific research backing support. Okay. I'll explain you all these differences which exist in the society. Just give me a minute. Now, when we look at this exaggeration of differences, girls are more sociable than boys. Are they more sociable? Do they have more friends than boys have? Do they communicate with more number of people? No, it's not true. It depends upon the individual, right? Girls are more suggestible. कि आप जो suggestion देंगे वो समझ जाएंगे. उनको समझाया जा सकता है. Is it true that they take suggestions and they act upon it? Never. Impossible. The third, they have a low self-esteem. That means they have lesser expectation with themselves, from themselves. Now, it is true, or I would say it was true earlier, but nowadays it is not true. That they have a low self-esteem. They feel that they are inferior as compared to men. In changing times, in modern times, this is not true. Then they lack achievement motivation. That means ambition to achieve more and more. This is again not true. There are women who have been very ambitious and who are very ambitious, and they have been achievers. They stand out as role models in the society. And then girls are affected by genes. That means if there is a problem or a mistake committed by a girl, it is because of her genetic characteristics, it is because of her personality or trait, which cannot be changed. But if a mistake has been committed by a boy, it was because of the situation or the circumstance. So this is kind of fundamental attribution error that rules the mind and the judgment in the society. And these differences are therefore exaggerated. They don't have a scientific backing. And now we come to discrimination against competent women. Now here I'm using a term, competent women. Competent women refers to working women. This is an American term to distinguish women who are working with women who are housewives, right? So competent women are those who have broken free from the traditional roles of homemaker, and they have set out to workplace to prove their talent or achieve their goals. So competent women is a name given to women who have set themselves free from traditional roles of homemaker or housewife, and have gone outside for work. So the definition of competent women is women who pursue success and achievement in a masculine endeavor. Women who pursue success and achievement in masculine endeavor are defined as competent women. Now, competent women face discrimination in the workplace as compared to their male counterparts in the following ways. Competent women face discrimination in the workplace as compared to their male counterparts in the following ways. Glass ceiling effect. After a particular rank or position, the female worker is not allowed to move further. After a particular rank or position, the female worker is not allowed a promotion. As if, not allowed a promotion as compared to her male counterpart. So after a particular rank or position, the female worker is not allowed a promotion as compared to her male counterpart, not due to difference in merit, not due to any difference in merit, but due to reasons unknown. But due to reasons unknown. As if a ceiling, an invisible ceiling, as if an invisible ceiling made up of glass is arresting her growth. As if an invisible ceiling made up of glass is holding her growth. This is called glass ceiling effect. So you will find even in IAS and IPS, the topmost rank in the organization is seldom offered to a woman. Like in police service, how many Director General of Police you have seen to be women? बताओ मुझे कितने DGPs देखे आपने स्टेट में women? ऐसा तो नहीं कि IPS में women का सिलेक्शन नहीं होता है, फिर ये एकदम टॉप में क्यों नहीं जाती? This is glass ceiling effect. Not due to any difference in merit. Like Kavita Chaudhary, say Kiran Bedi, they never became the head of their respective departments. No. It was always a man who was preferred over a woman as the head of the organization. And this exists not only in India but also in America. ठीक है, तो एकदम सबसे टॉप में जाने से रोक दिया जाता है, not because of any reason or lack of merit, because of glass ceiling effect. That is why this term glass ceiling, reasons unknown, right? Glass दिखाई नहीं देता, इसलिए invisible है. Glass can't be seen and hence it is invisible. So glass ceiling effect. Then we have glass elevator effect. Glass elevator effect. Now, what is this? The female counterpart is promoted in the organization at a slower pace, while the male counterpart gets rapid promotion. The female counterpart is promoted slowly in the organization, while the male counterpart gets rapid promotion, not due to difference in merit, but due to reasons unknown, invisible. But due to reasons invisible. As if the female is climbing stairs while the male has boarded on an elevator. As if the female is climbing stairs while the male has boarded an elevator. So rapid promotion of the male counterpart in the organization, glass elevator effect. Then comes glass cliff effect. Now this is very interesting. Cliff means roof, the top. Okay. Now here the women employee is given the topmost rank and position in the organization. Here the female employee is given the topmost rank and position in the organization and is loaded with excess responsibilities beyond her personal competence, or you can say larger than her personal competence. So she is given the topmost position with excess responsibilities which are beyond her capabilities to handle. And when she fails to dispose the responsibilities, her responsibility becomes the reason for her termination. So अगर women employee को terminate करना हो job से, तो सबसे अच्छा काम क्या हो सकता है? When she is looking for maternity leave, give her promotion and load her with excess responsibility. And definitely she will fail because she has to manage two roles, family role, work role. She is looking for maternity leave and you give her extra role, work. Or knowing that she has given birth to a baby, newborn, you give her promotion exactly at that time and load her with extra responsibilities, and she will fail. The moment she fails, it gives you a valid reason to give her the termination letter. This is called glass cliff effect. और ये बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में होता है, रैम्पेंटली होता है, ठीक है? Then you have celluloid ceiling. celluloid ceiling. Celluloid means cinema. Now, if you look at the world of cinema, if you look at the world of cinema, whether Hollywood or Bollywood, what is the role given to the female character? Generally, what is the role offered to the female character? By and large, they are projected as liabilities, isn't it? They are projected as liabilities. They are projected to be weak. So the hero in the movie might be beating the villain every time, might be winning against the villain every time, but in the end, he will surrender his weapon when his heroine will be taken in hostage by the villain. So the reason for defeat of the hero would be the women. So women is present as a trouble creator. कि इसकी वजह से हीरो हार गया, ये ना होती तो हीरो जीतता, तो उसको कभी कॉम्पिटेंट नहीं दिखाया गया, उसको कभी हेल्पिंग नहीं दिखाया गया, उसको कभी इनेबलिंग नहीं दिखाया गया, उसको डिसेबल्ड दिखाया गया, उसकी वजह से हीरो डिसेबल्ड हो गया. ठीक है, अब देखो कैसा, मैं आपको सेलुलॉइड सीलिंग एग्जांपल देता हूं. जंगल में both men and women are lost and they are finding their ways to go out. Now, forest is a dangerous place. It is lived by animal as well. Suddenly, one python will fall from the tree, will hang from the tree, and he will jump over the female, not the male. And the male will come to rescue her from the python. अब ये सांप को कैसे पता है कहाँ कूद रहा है, नीचे लड़का है कि लड़की, उसको कैसे पता है? अब ये फिल्मों में देखेंगे, वो सांप गिरेगा तो लड़की पे ही गिरेगा, वो काटेगा तो लड़की को ही काटेगा. तो दिखाया क्या जा रहा है कि ये लोग ट्रबल क्रिएट करते हैं. Their image presented, the image of females presented in the movie is that of weak characters, or they are objectified. In most of the movies, they are objectified. Their utility is just to add glamour and sexuality, right? They're objectified. Now let me tell you, nudity doesn't essentially means vulgarity. Okay? But objectification of women amounts to vulgarity. For example, let me ask you, the boys especially, if you go to a village or rural area, you will find women bathing in the pond and washing clothes. Do you find it vulgar? It's very common to see. It's very common to see that women bathing in the river Ganges or washing clothes or washing dishes in the village. Do you find it vulgar? You do not. But when you see same nudity in the silver screen, it is presented in such a manner that it appears vulgar. See, I'll tell you, if you watch old movies, you will find there was a heroine who is mother of Salman Khan, Helen. Helen used to come for dance numbers. And she used to perform cabaret dance. And she would not wear full clothes. But nobody found it vulgar. Because until then, objectification of women was not happening in the silver screen. But now if you see the so-called item numbers in which women are used as an object, to arouse the public, this is so self-demeaning. This is so disrespectful for the women community altogether. So objectification of women in cinema and projecting them with a weaker image as a liability is called celluloid ceiling. So all good work is done by men in the movies and all troubles are created by women in the movies. This is called celluloid ceiling. And movies have a mass impact, we should not forget. Tokenism. Tokenism involves giving minor benefits to women while taking away their bigger rights. Tokenism involves giving minor benefits to women while taking away their bigger rights. For example, ladies first in the lines and queues. Ladies first in the lines and queues. Offering seat in the public transport. Offering seat in the public transport or pulling the chair in the restaurant pulling the chair in the restaurant or not giving them the work of tours and travel in job, not giving them the work of tours and travel in the job or night shifts are examples of token benefits. Now, when it comes to promotion in the job, the women counterpart is denied a promotion, the ground being that we never made you work in the night shift. We never made you travel distant places. Your male counterpart did that, so he deserves a promotion more than you deserve. So offering token benefits and taking away their bigger rights is tokenism. And I'll tell you, modern women rise against this tokenism. They protest against this tokenism in a big way. अभी मैं आपको एक आप बीती बताता हूँ, शायद मैंने बताया हो आपको पहले. It's a very pathetic memory. So once I landed in Delhi airport and I went to the bus, the airport bus, which will take me to the luggage bag, second counter. So when I went there, I saw the seats were vacant, so I occupied a seat. And soon the other passengers came and crowded the bus. Now I found a lady, did I tell you this story? I found a lady who was at least, I believe, 10 years older than me. She was carrying two huge baggages in her hand and she did not get a seat. So as a gentleman gesture, I just left my seat. I just rose up to offer her my seat. मुझे क्या पता था कि मैं जो कर रहा हूं वो उनको बहुत insulting लगेगा. And she blasted at me publicly. She said, "Did I ask you for the seat? Do you think I'm physically disabled? What do you think are you? Can't I carry my luggage? When I'm carrying this luggage, it is mine. I can own it. I can take the responsibility of it. Did I ask you to get up from your seat? What do you think you are?" And मतलब मेरा इतना बेइज्जती मुझे जीवन में कभी नहीं लगा कि इतना पब्लिकली शोर कर रही है. And you know, whenever I feel stressed out, I feel like blackout. मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता उसमें, मैं एकदम blank हो जाता हूँ. So I became just frozen in speech and action. ठीक है, और मैं चुपचाप खड़ा रहा, मैं बैठ भी नहीं पाया दोबारा. अब वो बोलती गई, मैं कुछ सुन नहीं रहा था वो क्या बोल रही थी. Then I just followed the crowd to take my luggage, and throughout I was thinking that why she got so angry. After all, what was my mistake? मैंने गलती क्या कर दी? Then I thought, let me look at it from her point of view. Suppose I would be standing with two baggages, and suppose that lady left her seat. How would I have felt? I would have felt that she's insulting me, that I can't carry my luggage. वो मेरे मर्दानगी को चैलेंज कर रही है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। उनको क्या लगा ना, उनको लगा कि मैंने उनके औरतांगी को चैलेंज कर दिया। That is why she got angry. So since that day, I have resolved that even if a lady is standing in the bus or in the train, I will not leave my seat for her. Why should I? She is my equal counterpart. I should give her equal treatment. Why tokenism? क्यों? भाई जितना खाना मैं खाता हूं उतना आप भी खाती हो, आप मैं खड़ा रह सकता हूं, आप क्यों नहीं खड़े रह सकते? तो मैं तो अब ये सब काम नहीं करता भाई। उस दिन से मैं समझ गया ये सब नहीं करना। समझे पंकज? दिखाओगे जेंटलमैन गिरी?
सर गवर्नमेंट जबरदस्ती करती है ना अभी।
क्या क्या करती है? ना मैं तो नहीं करता। मैंने छोड़ दिया, उसी दिन से मैंने छोड़ दिया। Yeah, you are saying that you are equal, men and women are equal. Then if they're equal, why this kind of differential treatment like tokenism? Then give them full equality, na full space. ठीक है, full equality दो।
आपसे सर।
Reverse discrimination. Reverse discrimination. Now, what is this? It involves treating the women co-worker in a very fair and favorable manner. Treating the women co-worker in a very fair and favorable manner as long as one does not require to compete with her. Treating the women co-worker in a very favorable and fair manner as long as one is not required to compete with her. But the moment the male worker is required to share the women counterpart in decision making, the moment the male worker is required to share the decision making with women worker, they show avoidance. They show avoidance. So this is known as reverse discrimination. Giving good treatment when you do not need to share the decision-making process, but giving bad treatment when you are required to share the space, right? So this is known as reverse discrimination. Now, today I will not talk much because I have 2 more classes today. We will continue on Monday. Monday we are completing gender psychology and I am beginning with community psychology, another very important topic from paper 2 and a large topic, broader topic. And community psychology, if you have done, then you need not prepare psychology of disadvantaged groups and disadvantaged sections separately. It is an umbrella topic. It will take care of 3-4 chapters in psychology. Okay. So see you all.